Welcome to Automox's Autonomous IT podcast, where you're watching the heroes of IT, where we interview people who we consider our heroes of IT. Today, we are with Jennifer Courtnell, who's a part of Pulsant as their vulnerability coordinator. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi there.
Well, I like to start off every podcast with asking, how you got into the realm of IT and security, and what you do for work.
Yeah, I fell into the IT world by accident. So over here we finished school at 16 and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I ended up on an IT apprenticeship. It was around the time where personal computers were starting to become popular in the home.
Mhm.
So, I had this new toy, wanted to know how it worked. So I started an IT apprenticeship around about the age of 17, 18. And I just moved my way around from doing hardware, software, end user support through various different companies. Started Pulsant 16 years ago. I've had a few different IT hats then as well. So I've been first line tech support, second line tech support, escalations coordinator. I was looking for something different. The whole, going in and fixing things when they're broke, helping clients. I've done it for a long time. Well over 16 years. I wanted to change. And our cyber director at the time approached me and asked me if I wanted to help him set up a new vulnerability management team for remediation of client and internal vulnerabilities, both with servers and networking kit. And that's where I am today. I've been doing the job about a year and a half, 2 years.
That's awesome. I love when it kind of feels like the universe is just pushing you in one
Yeah.
direction and you kind of fall into something and then it's, oh wait, I love this. That's kind of how I feel about
Yeah, there's always something
marketing
to
in my
tinker
current job.
about with and to pique your interest.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, why don't you give the audience a little taste about what does Pulsant do and how you use Automox there?
Yeah, so Pulsant started off like any other MSP, fully managed networks and hardware, software, end user support. We are currently moving more to a edge cloud solution, so we provide co-location and data center hosting for our clients. So part of that was part of their contract. Some of our clients do take up our patching program. So with Automox, it's the only patching system we have we've utilized, where we can keep all of our customers separate. And although we do a lot of the patching through that, the biggest draw actually is the reporting and the information we can give to our clients up to the minute data to say, this is where you are vulnerable, this is where you are secure, this is where we need to expand on your network security.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you who are listening who might be wondering, how are you able to keep all of your clients separate? Automox uses multi-zone. So that way, if you're an MSP or even if, you might be someone up in a big corporate organization and you have, a couple of different franchises or a lot of large departments, you're able to use those zones to separate out your endpoints. So you're able to tackle, maybe one location at a time or set a certain policy for a certain department. And we believe that it helps a lot with organization. And then it also makes it a little bit easier when you take, thousands and thousands of endpoints, or even if it's just hundreds and you break it down into smaller, tiny groups, it feels a lot more manageable.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest draws we had. Because we started off using Automox on a month by month basis, testing wise. We've just signed a 3-year contract. upgraded to premium support. Even before we were on premium support, your support staff are amazing. Absolutely amazing. But
Yeah, they're
yeah,
awesome.
the multi-zones and the ability to provide reporting in that way, it's just, every time I log in, there's always something new, always something better.
Yeah, definitely. I know our product team has been working like madmen, trying to improve the product and iterate on, what's inside the console and how do we make it
Yeah.
better. And there's actually an entire Slack channel at Automox just dedicated to
Mm.
customer and prospect feedback
We
and what people need.
Yeah, we literally had the updated roadmap
Mhm.
presentation yesterday, and between November last year when we seen it and January, the changes in the roadmap, it's just spectacular. We're really excited what's coming on.
Yeah, definitely. For anyone listening, we actually have a product roadmap fireside chat coming up in February. So it'll be about a couple of weeks after this episode airs, I think, if I have the air dates correct in my head, where we're bringing in Brandon Shop, who's our VP of product, Jason Kikta, who's both our CISO and SVP of product, to talk about everything coming and everything that's been coming down the pipeline, for product and updates and what they see for the future of the product. So I have to plug that here, because I think it's going to be a really good one. It's Automox's Autonomous IT podcast, talks about certain themes every single month. This month, we're talking about how to work with your executive team. So, as a managed service provider, how do you position your work and what you do to outside executive teams?
So I think what we do is most exec teams, they know that vulnerability and security has to be done. They just don't understand why,
Yeah.
or they can't visualize what benefit it will give. Now, by using Automox, we are able to show monthly, weekly, daily how effective our patching systems are
Mhm.
and how effective we are internally at mitigating our own vulnerabilities and also our clients. We actually use our client service managers a lot to help us engage with our execs, both client based and internally, because they also use Automox to go in daily, weekly. They get the weekly summary reports. They can use that as part of their client service reviews to show how, how effective the patching is, where there's an issue, where things are end of life. There's not a lot of products that'll actually actively tell you it's end of life. You've got to go digging for that.
Yeah.
Ah,
No, that's a good one. I think that when people see reporting inside of a console, especially for, patching and vulnerability
yeah,
management, they use it as a tool to show their bosses, their direct management on,
yeah,
what's been done in the day to day. But I think there's something to be said for trends over time and
yeah,
what your team's been able to
and the way
do.
the dashboard's set up, you can click on
Mhm.
one thing and it'll show you, oh, you've got 7 critical vulnerabilities, and then it'll drill down
Yeah.
to which server, and then it'll drill down to which vulnerabilities, and it's a nice flow of information. And should a 0-day exploit ever get released, we are
Yeah.
easily able to identify those exploits. Before my team came into play, it could take 3-4 weeks for an entire client estate to be remediated against a 0-day. We are now
Mhm.
looking at about 9 days tops,
Wow.
because we have to go through change control and obviously client approving out of bound reboots. But we've reduced our remediation time internally and externally, which again the execs don't really see the value in that until you tell them, well, it's now boosting our NIST score. It's now boosting our favour with our insurers. So our
Mhm.
insurance comes down because we're showing we
Yeah.
are running best practice. And I think once you start talking about things like that, that the execs understand, and the execs see the client surveys coming back, showing how happy the clients are with the product and how happy the clients are with the remediation programs, then the execs start to really understand the value of it.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point that you make about insurance as well. I've heard that from a couple of different customers that they're able to use it to prove that they're
Yeah.
within certain guidelines with insurance companies, or even in some cases, bring
Yeah,
down
insurance
the
companies like to
cost.
have that evidence there,
Yeah,
and some of the other products we've used beforehand don't give us that granular reporting where
yeah,
we can actually just provide, a screen print, a PDF, and export exported CSV file.
yeah.
So whereas Automox just gives us everything that we actually need, we're actually starting to look into integrating it with ServiceNow so
Hmm.
that our clients, we're looking to see if we can integrate it in ServiceNow. So when our clients use the company portal, they can get that data themselves as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it
that's
makes it
cool.
more client focused.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. That's interesting. Sorry, I'm just imagining that integration in
Yeah,
my head.
it's literally something after the roadmap yesterday.
Mhm.
We saw that the integration with ServiceNow was there, so it was like light bulb
Yeah.
moment.
Mhm.
How can we
Yeah.
utilize this, you know, for our own efficiency, but for client experience?
So when it comes to explaining the value of your service, obviously it's something that Pulsant does very well, that you've discussed. How can that translate to others in IT and vulnerability management if they're trying to explain the value of what they do? Do you have any tips and tricks for them?
Um, I think the best thing to do is word of mouth is always the best form of marketing and advertising. I'll always say that. Um, I think the best thing to do if you're trying to show the value is to make sure you have a test zone set up and actually just demo the product as you use it, if possible.
Mm.
So I have done that with a few of my colleagues and things where they were like, "How can we use this?" I demoed it with our support team. And our support team actually uses the remote control function and some of the auditing functions in there
Mhm.
because they actually find that yes, they might not be patching, but they can utilize that product in a different way. So
Yeah.
so they're supporting our clients one way or another. With other people in the IT industry, the best thing I can suggest is give you guys a call, book that demo, speak to your teams because you guys just sell it. You can sell it way better than I ever could.
I couldn't say it better myself. No, I'm just kidding. That's a really good tip though. The demoing and the seeing it for
Yeah,
yourself and showing it to other people. I always feel like seeing is believing, to take a line from
that
like the
is
Santa
actually one of the
Claus.
ways we did get our exec team on board
Yeah.
is by showing them, and we were taking snapshots of dashboards throughout the
Hmm.
year and saying, "Look at it change."
Yeah,
And
there's nothing better than seeing it
visually
yourself.
being able to prove things are
Yeah.
changing for the better is
Hmm.
always one of the best ways to advertise.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an awesome conversation. I think there are a lot of actionable tips and tricks that you've given us, in how people can interact with both, outside teams, their clients, their executive teams, that people can put into practice. So if you've been listening, this is the Autonomous IT podcast. We release episodes every Tuesday and Thursday, rotating across topics. So whether that's CISO IT with our CISO Jason Kikta, or Patch Tuesday podcasts on Patch Tuesday, you can always find us here. Thanks so much for joining.